Hello, people. It's time for me to get a mic with the cough button on it because it's just not going to work for me. So tonight we're back in Werewolf with a returning wonderful guest who's been on more shows than some folks anyway. And so I want to go ahead and introduce our guest tonight. Matt, say hi.
Hello, people. How are you doing? Hope we have today. We've got always the question: when will you rage? You know.
Ah, that's right. Fucking lupines. Anyway, and we have a newbie on the show, Brother Pedro. Say hey.
Hey guys.
So, looks like, we're back online. So, we don't say that word. We don't even think that word anymore, okay, people? Listen
okay,
up.
All right.
That's so nuts, seriously.
I mean, it's going to really... I mean, we've only done we figured this out the day we did the show about that particular organization. And it was, I think, no, I had to delete the first show. We had to do the show twice. I shit you not. We had to do the show twice, and both of them fucked up. The first one so badly, it was you couldn't even listen to it. It was that bad. So we wound up having to re-record it, and even that one went all fucking pear-shaped. So there's that. So tonight we're doing Werewolf. Most likely that particular organization, and that's how we're going to refer to them from now on. That particular organization is not one we need to say out loud, and they're not a werewolf thing anyway, so it's not going to come up, right?
Yeah.
So okay, brother Eric, kick us off, man.
All right, so we're going to start off with the Silver Fangs. I just have to start off the first question about the Silver Fangs. How inbred are they?
Can I say a lot?
That's a messed up question, but I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're royalty, they're the whole thing, but then again, they've been breeding for so long, they've got, like, bug eyes and missing teeth, and, you know.
What's referred to in the wiki as odd quirks.
Odd quirks. My eyes hanging out. Yeah.
Well, I guess that one of the important things is to try to analyze the Silver Fangs beyond that, you know. The first thing is that most of the tribes in Garo Nation do say that the Silver Fangs, they got insane due to their inbreed, but that's only part of the truth. It does happen because the Silver Fangs, they are probably, I'll guess say that they are the tribe who they have the most, how can I say, concerning about keeping their lines pure. And by this, I mean not only the Garo, but also their kinfolk. Then it's quite common for them to have this, how can I say, maybe they have some forced marriage or things like this in order to produce the purest of the Garo, because they are very, very proud to announce them as the first tribe, the purest of the pures, or things like this. Then this concerning about lineage for them, it's something really, really a big thing, let's say. So these inbreeds, they do happen, but they are only part of their lunacy. And I use lunacy here because the other part is that they are crazy, they're insane, because they had offended Luna at the moment in their history. So there are these two parts in which you can say that they have, as pretty much everything in Werewolf, they've got a spiritual reason and also, let's say, a physical reason as well, you know?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it's quite interesting when you think about the spirituality aspect of this whole thing of inbreeding. And I think the results that you get from that are quite more potent than when you only analyze about their uh, quote unquote human history, you know?
Yes. I that's one of the things I've learned with these werewolf shows is that of all of the lines, there's a lot more spirituality in the werewolf line than pretty much anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would dare to say that that Werewolf is the most spiritual game in the World of Darkness. But I don't know, maybe that's just the werewolf in me, the
But
werewolf
yeah, of
fan
course, it's
thing.
not like you're biased or anything, right?
Yeah, kinda.
So, all right. So, well, I'm looking at here at. Okay, now here's something we've covered in one of the other shows. The War of Rage apparently was instigated by a Silver Fang, at least
Yeah,
as far as
Yeah.
myth goes.
yeah. The War of Rage. Okay, let's first establish that for a long time the Silver Fangs they have been and they still are the kings for to say the word that they refer to themselves, the kings of the Garo nation. Then, at the moment in their history, Silver Fang King died, and they wanted to resurrect the guy from the dead. And as we know from all literature,
that always
Hollywood,
goes
and
well.
whatever, it never goes well. Exactly.
Ever.
Yeah.
But the Silver Fangs, they didn't know the secret of death. So the other shapeshifters, the shapeshifters who had this secret, they were the Guru, the werebears.
Yeah, the ones who
as-
took out the weretrout.
Exactly, I would just mention that, Peter. Yeah. So we can say that the werebears, the Guru, they were responsible for the extinction of the weretrouts as well. But in order to resurrect this aforementioned king, they sought the Guru, but the Guru said no, because the Guru they put themselves pretty much as the older brother of the Garo. So okay, we've gotta control what you know, and we know better than you, so you're not ready for the secret. Gaia has given the secret to us, not to you, so you can't use it. Well, werewolves, they are creatures driven by rage. Then what the almighty kings of the Garo nation did at that time? Well, they decided that, okay, so let's kill them. We're going to force them to give us the secret of life and death. So we're going to start. They started hunting the Gurus, and this was the beginning of the War of Rage.
Yeah.
Because while doing this, they summoned the rest of the Garo nation. Say, all right, the Gurus are our enemies, and then other shapeshifters they appeared. We have more metamorphic breeds and etc. So they say, okay, let's kill the changing breeds, and then the War of Rage kind of took a kind of a worldly aspect, let's say.
Yeah, that's when we did the Changing Breed show. We that was the whole thing. It was like Mageddon.
Yeah, Armageddon. I like that.
It was just like, okay, if you're not a werewolf, then all of the rest of y'all gotta die.
Yeah. Something like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's
Something like
about how
that.
it went.
But
Yeah.
do the changing breeds perceive the Silver Fangs as the beginners of this War of Rage, or do they perceive the entire Garo nation as the?
Well,
yeah.
I would say, Pedro, that that is strange, to call you Pedro, not Pedro, as Peter would put.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would say that the changing breeds, they don't know that much about the Garo nation, the divisions of tribes or things like this. For them, that's the werewolves. So if you ask all the when you seek on the stereotypes that we got in the books, they all the changing breeds, they say the werewolves started it. So these division among the werewolves, like allspices of breeds and tribes, I think that this is not they don't know this, most of them at least. So the common knowledge is that the werewolves as a whole did it. I don't think that they even understand the Garo nation as a Garo nation, as a nation per se.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, that kind of covers the War of Rage. That what probably is the worst mistake in Garo history, I think.
What do you think about the motive behind all that War of Rage thing? The beginning, I mean, the search for immortality by the Silver Fangs and their relationship with the Guru. I don't like that much. Do you?
I mean, I think that it's a poor reason,
Yeah.
but it's a reason that fit White Wolf history line, that their timeline and etc. When it comes with the idea of the Silver Fangs, that they are kings and they are proud as all of the other tribes and etc. They are really proud about who they are, and so it's important to understand the Silver Fangs, that by their belief they are the chosen ones, not only among the Garo nation, but they are the chosen ones of the whole shit,
Yeah.
because they are the only tribe who they are blessed by Gaia, by Luna, and by Helios. I don't know how to say that in English.
The sun.
Helios.
The sun.
Helios, yes. All right, okay. So they are the only tribe who are blessed by all these two Celestines who are, they are an anathema to each other, right? So they are antagonists in their ideas, and by Gaia itself. So that idea that we had among kings and the nobility in medieval times, that you were chosen by God, you have the divine right to rule. That's pretty much the idea of the Silver Fangs. So to them, all the others, not only the Garo, but all the other war creatures, even the war trouts, they were below them, and they deserve their rule. And by this, as I am your king, I say you do. So in a sense, when you look at this, you can understand that the Silver Fangs, they were seeing this denial of the Guru to give them the secret of life and death as an intransigence, for example. So like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm your king. And they say like, I don't know, we have, and then they say Gondor has no king, just like Boromir or whatever. And then they oh no, come on, you do have a king, and it's us. If you do not agree with that, you shall die, because you are.
Fix that
I don't know.
You.
You are.
You
are refusing a divine commandment, so we are gonna purge this. We're gonna kill you. That's it.
I just noticed something here in the wiki. Is apparently this is kind of the blurb at the big top of the article. The last paragraph talks about the Silverfang fighting vampires for control of nations. And I'm like, how did I not know about that?
The Silverfangs, they take their kinfolk among the highest noble class from the world. And you can see that the vampires will do this as well.
Of course.
Right? So it's quite common not quite common like in every single game, but it's a common plot in which you have the vampires to, I don't know, to transform a kinfolk into a vampire, or to transform a kinfolk into a ghoul or something like this, and then you're messing with my blood, as the way the Silver Fangs would say. So this idea of controlling nations, I don't like the idea of a Silver Fang, like, I don't know, pulling the strings or something like this, but they would like the power, the political power, the noble power. So the way I see, it's way more like this fight between Silver Fangs and vampires. The way I see, it's way more in order to protect their own people.
Yeah. So, Eric.
Yeah.
Got any other questions? Since we're still ticking along and I haven't heard from you in a while.
Oh, it's okay. I was trying to figure out why things are starting to sound like a speaking spell.
Huh.
On this end.
What?
Oh, it's probably just my speakers or something weird.
Okay.
But I was looking through about kind of where they descend from. A lot of European, Middle Eastern.
Yep.
Russia in particular.
Yeah, the oldest Karn in existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just that sorts of things. And then how Baba Yaga fits in all that.
She's a fucking Nektuku, so yeah, of course.
They have a very special relationship with her.
Yeah, that's Werewolf has a source book. It's called Rage Across Russia, in which they have this crossover. It's a big crossover, werewolves and vampires, especially Baba Yaga stuff. Pedro, I know that you just read Rage Across Russia, right?
Yeah, and
so probably you're gonna get.
It actually includes mages too.
Yeah, so you're probably gonna get the details way more than me.
Well, I don't know, man. You're the werewolf guy.
But you just read it, so it should be closer in your memory than his.
I think so. Well, the Baba Yaga struggle in Russia concerns all werewolves in the region, not only the Silver Fangs, because she's so powerful and she creates some armies to protect her. That she's even able to shield the reality from the spiritual world, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. She raises what they call the shadow curtain.
Yeah.
Which avoids, let's say, werewolves' transportation via Umbra
especially moon bridges.
Yeah.
So most of the ghetto in the region are from the region.
There was no helping coming from any other tribes outside Russia, of course. And that's something particularly I don't like in this book, is that whenever White Wolf writes a Rage Across whatever, they put all the tribes there. Because if you want to play a Wendigo, which it's a typical North American tribe, they will appear in Russia, they will appear even in Australia and whatever. So when they kind of force this, particularly speaking, I don't like that much. But Russia is the homeland of the Silver Fangs. The werewolves, they divided themselves like a long time ago after the ending of the Imperium, which is the times in which the Garo used to cool the humans. So they spread among the Gaia's surface, and each one of them, they are looking for their own parents and stuff. And for some reason, there is nothing like why Russia, because it could be any other place. But the Silver Fangs, they established themselves in Russia, as other tribes divided in other countries. But we do have other Karns in Russia, not only Silver Fangs.
Yeah, but that was just the oldest on the planet.
Yeah. So, but Russia is their
raised by a Silver Fang.
I'm sorry?
Raised by a Silver Fang.
Yeah, exactly. So it's their center of their power. And then Baba Yaga, these things get kind of messy in my mind. I do not remember all the details, but I guess you, Vampire Lord.
Yeah, the Vampire Lore has her at a 4th generation.
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
And she, in a way, she embodies the spirit of motherland. Not Russia per se, but motherland in a whole. So she's protecting their own land. I guess that in some Russian legends, they have Baba Yaga as the spirit of land or something like this, kind of a witch or whatever, something like that.
The boogeyman, essentially.
Yeah.
Russian lore.
And then while protecting it, the way the Garo see, she's a wormish power in which Russia now it's under her control, so they must fight her, and then that's how this crossover goes, and especially because Baba Yaga, she's responsible for some things. One of them is that she raises the Zmei. Zmei are kind of dragons. And a long time in their history, before Baba Yaga, a couple of silver fangs, they're very famous. The family, it's Tvarevich. So we've got Ivan and Tamara. These twin brothers, they kill one of the Zmei. So that's one of the, I don't know, the biggest treasure, the biggest prizes of the silver fangs. They say, well, we are the dragon slayers of the Garo nation. One of the most powerful wormish creatures. They were destroyed by them. And so we have the reawakening of the Zmei, which is a terrible thing for Russia in the eyes of not only the Silver Fangs, but all the others. And then they see, oh, our old enemies are here again. We got to fight them. And that's pretty much like, this is just the surface for sure of the conflict, but these are the things I kind of remember as well.
We've had some interesting comments in the chat, by the way. Into the Wilderness posted, Silver Fang have less overt genocide, so points for them.
There is another thing as well, I can remember now. According to Garo culture, the worm, when Gaia created the world, the worm tried to grasp this world with its hand. Of course, that's metaphorical, but while doing it, the Garo at that time, before Imperium, before tribes, before pretty much everything, they were able to chop off this hand and to cut some fingers. So they understand that there are 5 fingers of the worm, which...
Claws, actually.
Yeah, claws, right? Yeah. So it's something that... I don't know how to explain, but they would be the biggest spirit in Gaia's realm, beyond the Celestines itself, or beyond the worm and the weaver. So, and the Silver Fangs, they were able to chop one of these claws, and there is another claw which is in Russia. It's called Koshay. Pardon for my Russian, I don't speak the language.
Say again.
And Koshay. It's Koschei. I don't know the details, but I still know the spelling. And Baba Yaga is trying to access some of these powers. So some of the Koshay powers. And then the Silver Fangs, they get like terrified. So we've got all the oldest monsters that we fought in our history, and it's the most powerful. So Baba Yaga is a big shit for the Silver Fangs.
What happened is she rose.
I'm sorry, Pedro?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but she rose in the Week of Nightmares, and when she did, it was like an iron dome came down on the top of Russia. Nothing came in, nothing went out, and there was no communication of any kind.
That's right.
Isn't the Week of Nightmares in 1999?
Yes.
So no, so
Yes,
that was before this. It's before this. This is I may be wrong, but I guess Rage Across Russia is a first edition Werewolf source book.
I
Okay.
think second, maybe.
Second, maybe. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not pretty sure now, but we're talking about 1994, something like that. So it comes before this, yeah.
In the book, she's pretty much indestructible. The way she's described, all her powers, her armies, her allies. It's quite impossible to defeat her.
But she is defeated, right? I mean, in
Vampire
in
Lord,
the meta
no.
plot.
As far as
In
I
Vampire
know,
Lord, I think, but,
the only Niktuku that actually got put down was Gorgo.
Don't know. Bobby
Okay.
Yaga's dead.
Yeah,
Very
she kind of disappears from the meta plot, I think.
Yeah, I do know that in Werewolf meta plot, Russia and the Garo and everything there, they are able to stop Baba Yaga's reign of terror, as they describe.
Well,
I do really not know how
Pretty
they
much.
do this.
I think that's actually in the stock description of a fourth generation vampire. just saying.
So I don't know. I guess the Silver Fangs, they were able to use their most powerful tool, which is the pen of the editor.
Oh, right, of course.
So that's
So-
pretty
So
much
actually,
what it
that's
is.
six
What
rank.
about how the? Sorry.
Go ahead, Eric.
What about how they see themselves as leaders within a pack or within a cairn? What other tribes think of them as far as they are as leaders?
Well, I think most tribes understand them as their leaders. It's natural for all werewolves to see the pure breed in them. You know, it's not something that you have to address or to explain. All werewolves have this feeling of nobility when dealing with Silver Fang. Isn't that right, George?
Yeah. Werewolves, during the character creation, there is a background which is called pure breed, which is pretty much the pedigree of the Garo, the lineage of heroes and etc. So the werewolves with pure breed points, they resemble the heroes of the past.
Sounds like
Something like
buying
that.
generation for vampires.
Yeah, in a way,
Yeah.
And to talk a little bit about mechanics, just to illustrate that, the number of dots you've got in pure breed, they are summed in any kind of social roles you may have during the game. When you are treating with another werewolves, yeah. So, due to that, it's important to know that the Silver Fangs, they've got a background restriction in which they must start the game with at least 3 dots in pure breed, which means that you've got 3 dice more to do any kind of social interaction with Garo. Then the game, the mechanic of the game forces you to, let's say, obey the Silver Fangs, right? Because, and there is all this tradition that they have always been leaders and etc. But they have been contested during the history. Throughout the entire Garo history, the Silver Fangs, they are, in a way, contested, especially due to their inbreed and etc. Because as they get the curse by Luna and the inbreeding stuff, they start getting crazy. We may talk about this lunacy soon. So the rest of the nation sees them as fallen kings, let's say, but they're still a king, So that sometimes that you are not very proud about your leader, but the guy is still your leader in a way or the other. So that's how it goes. I guess that we can say that's how it goes.
I think it's important to say. Sorry, I think it's important to say that other tribes can also have pure breed as their background.
Yeah,
That
indeed.
keeps Silver Fangs from being completely shielded from criticism.
Exactly. Yeah.
New Wave
in a way,
New Wave's saying that she thought that most of the other werewolf tribes thought of the Silver Fangs as arrogant and prideful creatures.
yeah, but they are. But this is something important that most of the werewolves, I would risk to say all of them, they are arrogant and proud. And we should add stupid in these characteristics of the werewolves. But as they have this power and everything, so the tradition of having a king, because the way the nation sees itself, so they see themselves as wolves, and wolves in common world, they've got alphas, right?
Yeah.
So we do need a leader of the pack. And here, when I say pack, I'm not talking about the pack.
Well, we'll see here in just a second. But
All right.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're back.
We're back?
We're
back. I really don't know where I stopped.
I can continue.
That
Okay.
agency that
I
shall
think
not be
it's
named.
also interesting that most tribes, they also are traditional in a kind, some sort of way. Not all tribes are traditional, but I think that when shit goes down, they will always go back to their former kings, their former leaders, their heroes from the past, which are the Silver Fangs.
Yeah. So that's a kind of an instinctive way, the Garo, they've got this, the instinct to follow a leader. May it be good or bad, doesn't really matter. But
He's just
when,
the guy
when we,
willing to stand up front.
yeah, exactly. But according to specifically what Eric asked about cairns and packs, I would say that the Silver Fangs, that person, that Garo, he will expect to be the leader. Maybe he's not, but there is a big chance that he behaves as he were, Yeah, like, okay, fuck that
I'm
shit.
really
No,
getting a Ventru vibe off these guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it does. It does have this feeling, indeed.
The character that is presented on the books as an example of a Silver Fang, which is Albrecht, he's always trying to escape from the leadership, right? In the beginning, second edition book, he's kind of a bum and he doesn't care about. He's trying to escape the obligation of Garo Nation, but as things normally go, he is called to the leadership, and he becomes eventually the king of the Garo Nation. I think it's almost impossible for them to escape this kind of stigma.
Yeah, as they would say, they heavy lies the crown. Every single. It's a good way to understand the tribe, as they are not only the, let's say, the king tribe, but they are also a tribe of kings, in which every single Silver Fang is a king somehow, of somewhere. I don't know exactly, but that's how they understand themselves. And because of this, when you're thinking about the pack bound or something like that, the Silver Fang is gonna say, "Hey, look, I should leader this because, in a way, the way he sees, I'm better than you. The blood of heroes runs in my veins. That's not only bullshit. I feel it, and you know that.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Garo and the rest of the Garo do know that.
It's probably an olfactory issue. Probably they smell.
Yeah, something like that. But you also have this spiritual side of things.
That's true too. Like I
Although-
said, I was like, honestly, I'm wondering, did they go out of their way to make it more spiritual?
How so?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is of all the other splats, there's just not. There's some voodoo mysticism and all that craziness, but there's no true spirituality, even among changeling.
Yeah, in a way, I guess we can say this. But the things that the Garo, they look at the Silver Fangs and they see that, I don't know, their teeth are whiter than mine, their fur is, I don't know, softer than mine. All the composure, all the way the person is, even when the person is doing something stupid, you know,
Yeah.
he does something stupid in a regal mode, let's say, something like this. So they have this regal halo around them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's almost like
Right.
completely instinctive that they
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
kind of the way I look at it is like, you know, he's kind of this old man rocking in a corner with a hockey helmet on,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just kind of, you know, here's some food, take it easy, guy, rest, and then, you know, something comes to attack, you know, the cairn, and suddenly he just gets up and starts whooping, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
it.
It makes sense. It does make sense, Eric. And
Because,
just
you know, as far as tribes go, almost every tribe has like a wise man, or even one of the chiefs. But the chief may be very old, but when it comes down to it, he can defend just as well as the younger guys.
yeah. We can say that about the Silver Fangs. But there's something that I would like to clear out, that although we have this thing about leadership among the Silver Fangs and stuff, they will always submit themselves to the litany, which are the commandments of Gaia, and one of them says that you should obey a Garo from higher station. So your Silver Fang of rank 1 would never challenge the leader of the cairn for the leadership, of course, if that guy is of a higher station, right?
Yeah,
So it's not something like, I'm Silver Fang, I should rule this shit. But among their equals, he's better than his equals. Let's say this.
yeah, it's really big on, you know, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
that's one of the
But-
things I always really liked about Werewolf was this. It's got a really good social aspect that I think
Yep.
is sometimes blurred away by, you know, let's go, you know, beat things up sort of thing. You know,
Makes sense.
But you know, I think the most basic kind of social thing with Guru is the stare down. And out of everything else that's social in there, I always feel that is the most, I guess, fun to play. But the fact that is like the thing that decides most, you know, big decisions is, you know, if there's a leader who can scare down the other because there's too few of us to keep killing each other.
Yeah,
Unless you were
indeed.
dead of Fenris, then it would be different.
But Eric, when you say that about Garo, that you've got to earn your position or something, that's something interesting to think about the Silver Fangs. Is that they, in their minds, they have already earned the right to rule, and this earning was, you know, that was given by Gaia.
Yeah, that's
So
called citizen privilege, right?
yeah, indeed. So I guess we should count that when we're talking about Silver Fangs, that they have already earned. Of course, that they still got to prove themselves and etc. But as I said, if we're talking about two equal Garos, the Silver Fangs, he is like more equal than the others. He's better than his equals.
Yeah.
Yeah, which also I would say gives credence to anybody who can outdo a Silver Fang. It makes him, in my eyes, kind of like the way I see it, a little bit like, hey, I beat out a Silver Fang for this, you know, little one up, you know.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And this historical leadership of the Silver Fangs has granted them too much privilege among the Garo nations. They've got the strongest kind, as already put by Peter. They probably have the oldest and I would say the most powerful fetish and all the other, I don't know, privilege that a king may have. So they used to choose the best kinfolk and things like this, you know. So during the history, this idea of leadership was being not only forced or pushed down the rest of the tribe's throat, but also reassured by their actual power, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it goes like this.
I'm looking at some more of the wiki here. Yeah, the Baba Yaga in Rage Across Russia is the vampire. But I thought she came up. I thought she rose during the Week of Nightmares. But again, apparently, at least as far as werewolf lore, is she was awake long before that.
Yeah, it was one of the things that kind of sparked the whole Week of Nightmares thing off.
Yeah, probably the drop of the fall of the shadow curtain.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Nothing came in, nothing went out, and things just went sideways and inside.
Two men enter, one man leaves.
Yeah, right.
Master Blaster runs bar to town. Sorry.
Peter,
yeah,
I guess that's interesting to mention about. I mentioned it before about the Silver Fangs lunacy, which is something interesting, I guess, because we started the cast by saying that they're not just inbred; they also got this spiritual side. So, can I?
What do you mean?
Can I start the lunacy thing now?
Oh yeah, please do.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Okay. It's because, as I mentioned before, the other tribes they know they have this idea that the Silver Fangs they've got insane due to their inbreeding, right?
Mm.
But
excuse me, odd quirk. Thank you.
But
says so right here.
But the way the Silver Fangs see it, that's different, because there was a lunar mandate in which each king could rule the Silver Fangs by 7 years, and after 7 years he should step down the throne and then let the next king appear, right? But there is a story in which a Silver King he was in the middle of a campaign against the Worm, and during this time his 7th year has just finished, and then he had to step down, as I said. So he chooses not to do this. He sees the falcon, and the falcon is in the air. The falcon, by the way, the falcon is the spiritual totem of the tribe. And so, while he sees the falcon flying in the sky, and I say, "Hey, falcon, look, what do you do that you fly in the sky and there is no one to boss you around or something like this? You fly as you've got your own, you are your own boss." So falcon says that I'm not my own boss, but I fly in the skies, and I rule in the skies because I serve Helios. And Helios is my patron, and he doesn't, let's say, charge me of anything. So at that moment, the Silver Fang King, he decides to pledge his allegiance to Helios as well. Not only to Luna, not only to Gaia, but also to Helios. Then Luna gets mad about this. She gets like, oh my God, she's like, I don't know.
That
the
actually
king
came up in the chat here.
Oh.
No, it's okay. You keep going. I was just just letting you know it came up in the chat about 5 minutes ago.
Shit.
This particular story, but no, that's cool. I mean, even the folks. The cool thing about the new YouTube is the chat goes with the video now. So that if you listen to the video or listen to the podcast later on, the chat scrolls at the same speed as it did during the show itself. Yeah, it's kind of hip.
Yeah. So Luna gets mad about it, and then she curses the Silver Fangs with the lunacy. Then the Silver Fangs, they start to they have in the game mechanics, they've got a derangement. So that you begin your character with it because of this is a curse from Luna, right? So that's the actual reason why Silver Fangs they've got insane through during the time, right? So that's not only inbreeding; you also got this part.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much.
It's interesting that in Dark Ages book, the madness of Silver Fangs is treated according to this lore. So they all get the lunacy after 7 years in leadership. But in Apocalypse setting, it's different. They all got the lunacy because of the coming apocalypse. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess it's worth mention that exactly what Pedro said. This is in Werewolf: The Dark Ages from the second edition. On the third editions, they've got the arrangements.
Oh, is that so? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So they did this updated.
So what am I seeing here? It doesn't have a click through. What's Touch of Silver? Are they immune to silver?
No.
No,
Okay.
they'll suffer from silver as any other Garo. The thing about their names is due to their pelts, that they are as white as silver. So they've got this silverish, let's say, flickering idea in their fur.
Well, there's also a mention of a High King and wears the silver crown. I'm like, okay, that would be incredibly painful.
But that's different because the silver crown, that's wow, that's another pen of the editor, let's say. The silver crown, that's the most powerful fetish in Garo Nation history for all time and stuff, and it was lost. But Jonas Albrecht, he's the guy who appears, as Pedro said, in the comic books in the beginning of the second edition, and he finds it because that's the only way that he could dethrone a guy who, according to him, was corrupted by the worm, and in fact, that guy was this guy names is Arkady, and
Arkady Iceclaw.
Yeah, exactly. Arkady Iceclaw, he takes possession of the throne that was previously held by Albrecht's grandfather, and
Jacob
then he tries
Horningfield.
to exactly. Whoa, you're good on your
No, I'm doing
Werewolf
this
lore.
for a
What's
reason.
happening?
Yeah, no, I'm right on top of it as far as the information. I'm doing it so that it's kind of subtext to what you're telling us.
So, so he has to find the silver crown, or he can't dethrone the guy, and then he finds it. But the silver crown gives him lots of abilities, such as he can command orders to any kind of Garo. The silver crown gives him like extra lives during the meta plot. I don't know, Albrecht kind of, let's say, yeah, he dies. You know, if you when you read this, you understand that he dies twice, if I'm not wrong, and the silver crown kind of restore him to life, and he can find he can fight his enemies all over again. Yeah, and that's it. So he's kind of immune to the touch of silver by the silver crown.
Oh, okay. The magic item allows him to be immune to silver.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So the silver crown, in essence, the silver crown can do pretty much anything that your storyteller or that the writers of Werewolf want to.
No, it's exactly what happens. It only happens if the storyteller says it happened.
Yeah, something like this.
But go ahead.
This. And
Well, no, I thought Pedro was trying to say
just
something.
said that the Silver Crown is a great Deus Ex Machina mechanism in the narrative. I don't really like it, I think it should have limited powers, but it's
I
okay.
don't know. I mean, it sounds like an artifact to me, which means that, yeah, it's going to be way more powerful than anything your average mage could turn out.
No,
Oh.
sure. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that
Or
it
knocker,
should-
for that matter.
it should have a list of powers, not any kind of power possible, which is the case. I don't like that. I think Albrecht should die in the meta plot, but okay, let's go.
Yeah,
on.
in the end he dies, but spoiler alert. But the idea is that the Silver Crown it's not mechanic listed on the source books. There is no way you can find it. It's only on the meta plot, and these are the powers we have seen Albrecht using, right? So this command of all Garo, including the Black Spiral Dancers, and also this restoration of life. At least those are the powers that I can remember right now.
Wait a minute,
but I think
it's
I
silver as well.
just came back to the chat. Apparently, they have a gift that allows them to turn their claws into silver.
Actually, they
Oh.
have a gift that they can transform themselves into a silver werewolf completely.
That
Yeah.
would be bad
Because-
for business.
Because there is a gift which is called Silver Clowns, but the Silver Clowns, that's a gift from the Aeron. That's a level 3 gift. And the Silver Fangs, they have this, it's called Vengeance of Gaia, I believe that's it, which is a level 5. I think it's Vengeance. I don't know. Avenger of Gaia? I've got to check. But it's something like this. So it's exactly as Pedro
Avenger of
mentioned.
Luna.
Oh yeah, indeed. So that's
Okay,
exactly
we're about
what
we're about halfway. So we're gonna switch over to Shadow Lords here.
But can I just
Okay,
make
go ahead.
one point before this? It's just because you mentioned gifts.
Yeah.
So I guess you
I
would
didn't.
like to
No,
know
I
this.
didn't. Into the Wilderness did. I was just voicing it for him.
So there is another gift which is a level 6 gift. I think you would really enjoy this. That the gift is able with this gift, the wearer is able to kill vampires simply like that.
See, no, that's
Instantly.
the thing. Any
As
Garou vampire loses every time. No, I'm
Yeah.
dead damn serious about that. Those damn things scare the absolute living shit out of me. Because
but
their natural weapons do aggravated damage, for God's sakes.
yeah. But come on, to have a gift, like I really hate this gift, but like I don't know, you pick up like a Methuselah or something like this, and the guy is instantly turned
Even
into
then, man, I'd say it'd be 50-50. I'm dead serious, man. They designed werewolves to just be the anti-vampire thing. I'm dead serious, man. I've
Yeah.
always noticed shit like that. You know, in as far as White Wolf, is there seems to be, for the most part, there seems to be one nasty that is really good at killing one of the other nasties.
But if you're a vampire and if you want to defeat a werewolf, you just have to wait, right?
yeah, you wait for 60 years and the guy's dead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just go hang out in the crypt for a while. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And there's a question in the chat that's about turning themselves into silver. When they do that, when they use this gift, they get immunity from silver as well.
Indeed.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed.
All
and they
right,
also
so-
recover rage. It's bizarre.
All right, this was one of the ones that somebody posted a tattoo of the Shadow Lord.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it was on I think it was in the old World of Darkness group when I posted the ad that Eric turned out for us. Somebody, commented with a picture comment of the Shadow Lord glyph. The
Oh,
symbol.
The Shadow Lord gift, it's like 2 claws, like in a kind of an axe, something like this.
Yeah,
and
it's
there
an
is
X
a
up
mark.
top and 2 claws.
Clutching.
Yeah, it looks. But
Yeah,
dude
and
actually had a tattoo of that. I was like, that's
Yeah.
commitment, yo. That's
Yeah,
commitment.
I don't like the Shadow Lords. It's my favorite tribe in Werewolf game. I said that before, but the glyph could be better. But the idea is that they are grasping for power, and that those 2 marks above, they are emphasizing this grasping of power. That's the idea.
So, okay, wait a minute. We actually have a documentation here, since we're, and we use this as a good segue over to the Shadow Lords. At the beginning of the where was it? Short story at the start of the Shadow Lords clan book actually showed a vampire killing werewolf.
Yeah.
But that's purely luck
by the
or
way-
something. That's all I can figure.
Yeah, and by the way, the vampire kills an important silver fang. That's not only a werewolf; it kills a silver fang.
Yeah.
But to understand this, it's important to understand the Shadow Lords as a whole. And here goes my Shadow Lord propaganda.
Your Shadow Lord spiel. Go for it, man.
Okay. The Shadow Lords, they're kind of Machiavellian werewolves, in which they understand that they got, of course, that the means, they are not that important as the results, so they will justify whatever result you have. And it's interesting to understand them as truly fanatical werewolves. Because of this, they established themselves as the Silver Fangs. They are the alpha of the Garo Nation. The Shadow Lords, they established themselves as the beta of the Garo Nation. So they are there to make sure that everything a Silver Fang will do that would work, and it benefits the Garo Nation somehow. So Shadow Lords, they are differently from the rest of the Garo Nation. They are not above making pacts with their enemies. So they've got this idea of the enemy of my enemy is my ally, at least temporarily, right? So during their history, they make some pacts with vampires or mages or whatever that would take them to their objective, let's say.
I think that when you read the Shadow Lord officially, you can get the impression that they are trying to overtake Silver Fangs from the leadership. But I don't think
that's not what I'm getting here. It's more of they want to be in charge. They just want the Silver Fangs to stand out front and take any heat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
When we're talking about power, it's not necessarily the leadership power, but maybe the type of manipulative power they are trying to achieve, and their goals can be better achieved by, I don't know, maybe pulling the strings behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I would say that the way the Shadow Lords see that they are actually, they are able to do the actual power, because there are things that the king, he cannot do, but I can, right? So they are not afraid of make their claws dirty or anything like this. Then to return on the story, that the Legends of the Garo that begin the tribe book, as you mentioned, Peter. The guy, he tries to, first of all, the Silver Fangs, they are not interested into hunting vampires in a given region. I'm not pretty sure, but I think it's LA, but that there is a chance that this is wrong. The Shadow Lord, the Silver Fangs, they are interested in their own agenda and whatever. But so this guy, he can see that they need the Silver Fangs. So he creates a trap in which this cub, it was a rank 1 Silver Fang, but lots of things are being expected by this cliff, this rank 1 to achieve. So he makes a trap, and then the vampires, one of them or they're ghouls, I'm not pretty sure now, they kill the Silver Fangs. And by killing them, the rest of the Silver Fangs get really furious.
Of course.
And then because of that, the Silver Fangs, they draw their eyes to the vampire problem, and then they decide, okay, we have to fight the vampires. So in the manipulative and
clan,
evil and Machiavellian way to see, the plan of the Shadow Lord was achieved, right? And these all this cub died, but we killed a vampire, and that's not like I don't know, an average Joe vampire. It's an important vampire there, and so the death of the cub had served to a higher purpose.
Yeah, Matt did exactly that once when we were playing. He was
Exactly.
the Shadow Lord that was playing with the Silver Fang. And he repeated the same treasonous act.
Yeah, but come on, all for the best of Gaia, Pedro. You have to remember that. So I guess that this simple story, it really gives you the idea of what a Shadow Lord really is. He's fanatical to its duty to Gaia, of course, and he's gonna fulfill its duty. Doesn't matter how, and doesn't matter the price you pay. I guess that's really important to understand them.
Looks like they had a bit of a clash with the Simiche.
Oh yeah, because they are from Eastern Europe, and they got some strongholds in Romania and etc. So we've got the Simiche there, right?
Yeah.
They are from there as well.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the name of the clan?
Simiche.
Well, that's a lot different than
How it's pronounced in Romanian, anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
but in Portuguese we say Chizimici, which is bizarre.
Simiche seems to be the
Yeah,
most common.
you also can't pronounce Bruja either, Peter.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, man. There were no soft J's at the time that this clan came into being. I'm just saying.
Really? Really? So Spanish didn't exist when the game was made?
No, I'm talking.
Okay. I see your excuse now.
You're not helping.
I know. So I'm sorry if I don't trust your pronunciation of Zamisi.
Okay. Well, no, it's actually go to the wiki. It says so.
Yeah, but
How is that again?
when pronunciation is concerned, Peter, you do a great job by saying Nação Garou in Portuguese. But
I'm
off
trying.
we go. But and then in Romania we've got, from what I remember, we've got Tremere, we've got Simiche, we've got I guess La Sombra as well. I don't know. We've got the whole package of vampires. So the Shadow Lords, they got, let's say, in a way, they've got some expertise while dealing with vampires that the rest of the Garo Nation does not possess. So it's something like this. They make some alliance with the Tremere, and then they fight the Simiche, or the opposite, and then you go. But their Simiche would be, probably that's the worst clan to them, if they could separate them into clans.
Yeah, that's the
favorite
thing.
enemy.
Unless the average guru got a better education than I would have thought, they would know they're vampires, but they don't have any real understanding that there are different kinds of vampires.
Yeah.
That's the way a lot of the hunters are too.
Yeah, but I guess the White Wolf, everything is something like this because most of the vampires they won't have truly knowledge of werewolves or mage or changeling, and vice versa. Everybody,
Yeah.
you just know that we've got changelings. We don't know that we've got trolls or knockers and
Yeah.
whatever.
Red caps and
Yes.
other
Yeah.
nasties.
So
If I'm not mistaken, in the second edition tribe book of the Shadow Lords, there's a secret society. I'm not 100% positive about the name of the society. Something concerning a Norse god of shadow. Can you?
yeah, Nidhogg.
Oh,
That's the
Nidhogg.
Nidhogg,
Oh,
the
shit.
Society of Nidhogg. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And as I remember, this secret society wants to cast the world in shadow, just like
Yeah.
an eternal
Blacken
night,
the
something
sun.
like that.
Yeah.
And because of that, they can create allegiances with De La Sombra, perhaps.
Oh, sure. But in third edition, the Society of Nidhogg they were hunted down by the Shadow Lords and they had a very different idea from the rest of the Shadow Lords. So we had this hunting. So they are not, let's say, well seen among the ranks of the Shadow Lords.
Another of these societies that can be linked to the Shadow Lords, they have a completely different background. They are from Japan. They are called the Haken, I guess. That's how you pronounce it. But I don't think this should come into the discussion because they are completely different group, and they follow the same totem spirit, but it's different,
Yeah. There is someone on the chat, Peter, which is you got a point there that's into the wild, and let's talk about the Camazot. And this is something interesting. I really would like to talk about the Camazot.
Okay.
Because remember when we talked about the Silver Fangs and the idea, not the idea, but the War of Rage?
Yes.
Good. The Shadow Lords, again, they are very fanatical into their duty with Gaia, okay? So they pursued the idea of the War of Rage for way after all the other tribes, or way after the ending of the War of Rage, they were still with this idea. So when they came to America for the first time with the Spanish colonization and etc. in America, they faced Mokola, which are the let's say the Dragon King creatures from werewolf lore, and they faced also the Camazots, which are the werbats. And the Shadow Lords, they were responsible to exterminate them. The way the Shadow Lords put in their own tribe book is like, you gave us a duty, like to exterminate the changing breeds, and that's exactly what we did. Yeah. So in their distorted mind, they are doing something good for Gaia, but that's something that their kings had asked them. So we are going to do it. You wanted, we did it. And the idea of the death of the Camazot is interesting because the Totten bat has become crazy and then fallen to the worm.
Yeah.
But there is a camp of the Shadow Lords which takes residence in Mexico mainly, which are the children of Bat. And there is a guy who is able to recover the totem, the bat, from the worm, and Bat is now serving Gaia back again. But Bat serves both sides of this war. There is still the totem bat for the black spiral dancers, and there is a new, like, kind of, let's say, there is a renewal of the totem, maybe we can say this, that serves Gaia, more specifically, that serves the Shadow Lord. So this bat is under the grandfather, let's say, metaphorical wings.
Yes. I'm noticing something else in the trivia here, is that the Shadow Lord supported Vlad Tepes prior to him being turned.
Yeah, indeed.
They actually helped him hunt down Turks. I was like, really?
Yeah, we have the because we've got the shit. Maybe my history is wrong, but we've got the invasion of the Ottoman Empire in Eastern Europe, and Vlad Tepes is one of the guys that takes the leader of defending their land.
Yes.
Because of that, the Shadow Lords, they associated themselves again. They are not afraid of doing any shit like this.
Oh no!
So so they associate
people is like Tuesday.
So they associate themselves with Vlad Tepes in order to protect their land. You know, so
yes.
Hey, come on, I'm fighting here. Don't disturb me. Oh,
yeah,
you disturbed me, so now the two of us are gonna punch you in the face. That'll be kind of bizarre. And this, but I just remember that.
It seems like Werewolf covers more ages of world history than Vampire does. Like, I don't remember. I could be wrong. God knows I could be wrong. Is that I never noticed a Renaissance book for Vampire. Victorian, yeah, okay, and Dark Ages, of course, but Renaissance? How cool is that?
We don't have a book for Renaissance, a Werewolf Renaissance either, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm reading this wrong. My bad. Or they wrote it wrong, whatever. That's actually when the Kamazots get mentioned, the extinction.
Yeah, it was 1500 and sort of. I can't remember the date. I'm sorry, but that's why during the discovery of America, that's when they start to fight a war with the Kamazot. But this idea that I just mentioned about associating themselves to whatever it comes, whatever would benefit themselves and Gaia, but Gaia above themselves, of course. The Shadow Lords, they hold what they call shadow moots, I think.
What?
Shadow moots, because werewolves, they get together in their cairns to discuss
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, right? So they get themselves to discuss what they did and what they're going to do and etc. So, but the Shadow Lords know that if they mention everything that they do, that they wouldn't find they wouldn't find any kind of renown or something like this or fame or whatever among the rest of the tribes. So they get together only among themselves and they praise Grandfather Thunder, and there they can mention their real plans and what they really did. So at these kinds of mood, that's okay for you when you say like, oh, I associated myself with a vampire and we killed like an older vampire, and everybody would clap their hands and say, hey, yeah, that's how you do it. You know?
Sneaky sons of bitches.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And this that Pedro mentioned, it's another thing which is interesting, because there is the stereotype in Silent Striders that they recognize the Shadow Lords as sons of bitches. They say they are sons of bitches, but they are our sons of bitches, you know? They're going to do whatever, but to help our side. So let them be. Pretty much that's the idea the Silent Striders at least have towards the Shadow Lords.
So what's this about camps?
There are factions inside the tribe. That's the idea.
Just like
Care to elaborate?
Kraken and the Nidhogg Society, the ones that we mentioned, and we have others.
They've got... Yeah, every single tribe has a couple of camps, and these camps, they, how can I say, they've got, let's say that they are...
Cool names.
Huh?
Some of them have pretty cool names.
Yeah, indeed. They've got some different philosophies and things like this. So it's a way that the werewolves inside that tribe, especially for your character, not to be if you are from one tribe, let's say Shadow Lords, and I create another Shadow Lord character. We don't have to act and think exactly the same. We've got our own different philosophies and strategies and, I don't know, course of action, something like this. Mm-hmm. So every single tribe has different camps. And when it comes to the Shadow Lords, they've got, for example, they've got the Society of Nidhogg that you just mentioned right now. They've got the Children of Bat, which I've already mentioned as well. And then they have
the Judges of Doom.
The Judges of Doom. I love this camp. I really like them. They are the Inquisition among the Garrow. You know, they arrive at a place and they say like, "Hey, let me see if you're breaking any litany law, and if you're doing, you're gonna be punished." They are pretty much this.
Now, yes. I'm seriously feeling Children of the Crow. I'm feeling that.
Yeah, we have the Children of Crow, which before Children of Crow, we've got Lords of Summit, and Lords of Summit, they are let's say the leaders among the ones that they've got this leader idea and etc. among the Shadow Lords, right? So they've got this fight, this war towards leadership more than the rest of the Shadow Lords, and the Children of Bat. The Children of Crow, they understand the idea that they are going to be beta. So usually they serve
advisors and fixers.
Yes,
seems
exactly.
to be the general description.
Yeah.
And that can be some powerful shit, man.
A lot. And it's interesting because the Children of Crow, in a way, they embody at least the first idea of the Shadow Lords, in which they're going to be beta. They're going to serve someone. They're going to make sure and advise and to make sure that everything goes well in the name of Gaia, or something like that. But there is a dogma for the Children of Crow that they should never be below someone who is not, let's say, better than them. And this also incorporates the thing of the Shadow Lords, because they've been advising the Silver Fangs for a long time and etc. But they see that right now the Silver Fangs, they do not fit as the Garrow Nation leaders anymore. So they should be dethroned and a new power should emerge. And by new power, I mean that the Shadow Lords should rule the Garrow Nation. So basically, that's the idea, and that's where you create the conflict between the two tribes.
Wait a minute, where did I see that? Apparently, they took serious issue with the rise of Christianity, or was that the Silver Fang? No, where is it? I know I saw it here.
Yeah, they do have a problem with rise of Christianity because it represents the death of some old customs that the Shadow Lords would have. It indicates some problems among their own kinfolk and things like this. We've got the Inquisition and so many. So in a way, it's like the Christianity for them represents the human world taking over their own territory.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
They're very also spiritual and shit.
Yeah, and
even
also
more
with this.
Oh, well, not spiritual, but shamanistic and sympathetic magic kind of deal.
Yeah, and also with this, we've got the vampire problem. I'm sorry, Pedro.
Yeah, later on, even though they have this problem with Christianity, but afterwards they take on roles in the clergy, right? So because they could maintain power and adapt themselves to new reality.
It's important to understand that the Shadow Lords, they will take any edge as possible, you know. So if Christianity is like ruling the world nowadays, why don't we infiltrate into the Christianity ranks, and also we are gonna be raised into power as well? So that's pretty much their logic, let's say.
Yes. Looking at so now, since the wiki is for the old world, where I'm on the side of the wiki for the old world of darkness, we're looking at some of the end time stuff still. Some of it happened, some of it didn't. What do you think? This is just from our experience with V5. Is that some of these Gehenna type dealies are still going on? They're just taking longer than we expected.
Well, one of the interesting things about the apocalypse setting, according to the Shadow Lords, is that I think it's the last battle book, it's presented a scenario in which all tribes fall to the worm.
That's just a correction, Pedro. That's in Apocalypse source book. Last battle is the navel.
Yeah, thanks. In this book, when we're dealing about other tribes falling to the worm, they all change their tribe names, right? Can you tell me what's the name of the Silver Fangs that fell to the worm?
Their names get Fiery Crown.
Yeah. But the Shadow Lords, they do not change their names.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's a really cool name.
Yeah, and not only because of this, because they're already looking at the worm like this, like we are one step from the worm, in a way. But the interesting thing about being one step of the worm is that the other tribes, they do see this with concerning, of course, but the Shadow Lords, they have been able to keep themselves pure, you know?
Yep. And the other tribes do take advantage of that. Even though they concern about it, but they will eventually ask a Shadow Lord to deal with some Malfean power that they cannot.
Yeah. And by bringing the worm into aspect, there is someone, New Wave Masquerade. He's mentioned a camp of the Shadow Lords, which are the Bringers of Light. That's I really like this camp. My character belongs to this camp. And the Bringers of Light, they are the ones who study the worm. They infiltrate themselves into the worm rank and try to, let's say, destroy the enemy from within, right? So you acquire a couple of knowledge and then, let's kill them now. Something like this. So it's quite common for them to infiltrate into hives of the Black Spiral Dances. And by hive, if somebody doesn't know, it's kind of a current from the worm. And they infiltrate into hives. They get their ritualistic practices and everything like that. And so now we've got information. So they are pretty much the intelligence, let's say, the intelligence agency of the Shadow Lords. And it's interesting because while doing this, let's say, while walking the spiral, metaphorically, they are still able to keep themselves pure. So a Bringer of Light will probably go to a vampire and talk to a vampire. The vampire, I don't know. Of course that we've got powers, disciplines, auspex, and things like this. But the vampires would not, at least according to werewolf lore and mechanics, the vampires will not be able to see that guy is a werewolf and things like this. Yeah, there is a thing about a blood pact among vampires, right?
Yes.
When you take what's the name of that?
Well, you've got Blood Bond, which is
Bloodbound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you drink three nights from the same vampire, and then you'll do anything they want.
Yeah, I didn't remember the name, So the Bringers of Light, they even have a talon in which it's a kind of a stone that if you take the vampire's blood, the blood goes to the stone, not to you. So you will not be blood bound to that vampire. So you are able to betray that vampire later.
Ah.
Right. So they got, we as a tribe, we've got our, let's say, our devices as well.
New Wave's trying to keep us on track. The Lazarite movement.
Well, that's interesting. It's also one of the hidden societies within the tribe that deals with the Metis werewolves. They try to incorporate all of the Metis werewolves into their ranks so they can not only avoid being subjugated by other Garou, but also to create a special movement and power in which they can develop themselves. I really like that. But if I'm not mistaken, it was taken out of the third edition, isn't it?
Yeah. Remember that we mentioned Lord, actually now King Jonas Ulrich while speaking about the Silver Fangs?
Yes.
There is another guy, let's say Ulrich counterpart, shadowy counterpart, which is the Margrave Yuri Konietzko. I'm sorry about my
No, that
Romanian,
actually
not as
sounded
good as
about
yours.
right.
Okay.
Let's hope so.
The Margrave, while Ulrich is the main power, he is in fact the king of the Garou nation, but he is the highest representative of werewolves in America, more specifically North America. And he does everything in a new way. Ulrich is a different Silver Fangs. I'm sorry, Pedro?
What?
Oh, I thought you have said something. My bad.
No.
So Ulrich is this new guy. He is a renewalist, differently from the monarchist Silver Fangs, but he is still in North America. The Margrave Konietzko, he is a more traditional guy, especially because we can understand the werewolves from the Garou nation, from the European werewolves. They are more traditional. They are more centered in their own history and things like this. They still do the things on the old way, let's say. And then he is the one who organizes. He's the leader, the main character. He's the figure of power. That's the word I was looking for, the expression actually. So he's the figure of power to European Garou. And to achieve this, he coordinates better the Shadow Lords. He's kind of the undisputed leader of the tribe. And then in his leadership, he ends the Lazarite movement, but he does this by incorporate the Metis in the ranks of the Shadow Lords with the promise like, hey, you don't need to organize yourselves to prove yourselves worthy. We are here to make our Gaia's duty, and you are worthy, so come here. So in a way, he's pretty much take all alliances and making allies wherever it's possible to. And
Which is
he does
awesome
this.
because even though he comes from a traditional background, he's quite progressive by accepting Metis in their ranks. I think it's
And not only this, because he forged an alliance in Balkans with the Black Furies and Red Talons. And then he expands this with Glasswalkers in the Fianna, and he uses the Children of Gaia as emissaries, and he's even able to put what's the name of the queen? Tamara? Yeah, you're correct. So he's even able to put Tamara Tvarevich, who is the queen of Russia. She's the queen of the oldest Karen ever. He puts her under his leadership, not by saying this like, hey, subjugate to me, but he creates a plan in which she, in a way, serves his plan, not the other way around.
Yeah,
but
that's what you deal.
Yeah, but it's important to mention that Margrave does all these things in its future, but he's got a streak of Silver Fang's blood in his Silver Fang's lineage in his blood. His mother was a kinfolk of the from the tribe, from the Silver Fangs.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
so there's a lot of things that tied these two tribes together.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, indeed. During the novels, the Margrave and Albrecht, they even face each other, which is very interesting because the first time they see each other, so they are the other guy in their position, like, hey, subjugate to me. And at first, Margrave sees Albrecht, and there are only the elder Garrow around them, representatives from basically every single tribe. And then the Margrave puts Albrecht in his place, like, hey, don't talk like this, you know, you don't know shit, and you're saying things. So, you know, just lower your head and listen. Something like that. Probably he's more emphatic and furious than I am right now. But and then the next day or the other day, after a couple of days, not sure, Albrecht he has a speech in front of younger Garrow, and then that's time for Albrecht put the Margrave in his place. So he says, like, we have to do things differently and everything like that. So he's able to do this. So it's like a tie. Each one of them won a battle. Like they don't actually fight, but it's just like speaking. And it's interesting when you see that the Margrave is able to do this with the old Garrow, like with representatives from European tribes and etc. And it fits its leadership in Europe. While our Albrecht does the other way around, among the eyes, in front of the eyes of the younger Garrow, and he says, like, hey, this is like a new way to do things. So they are in a balance, the way I see, you know. That would probably, maybe there was a chance to win the war if both of them had, you know, acted together.
Right. I'm looking at some of these individual Shadow Lords. Seems like there's a lot of Russians. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Eastern European, a lot of Vlads.
Yeah.
Alexandru.
Yes, but we have to remember that as they are from Eastern Europe, they kind of Shadow Lords and the Silver Fangs, in a way, very subtle way, they share the same territory, right?
Yeah.
So, and especially when you remember the idea of being advisors to the throne and things like this, so it's understandable that they would be together, let's say, although they're not actually together, but they would share the same space.
Well,
yes.
The way it always looked to me with these guys is that they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Hey,
You know, you've got the Silver Fangs doing their thing and being lordly, and the Shadow Lords behind the scenes doing the king's bidding, but secretly trying to get his own power.
Mm.
You know, it's kind of like the way I see it. Besides that, I kind of like, snively, conniving types of people, you know.
Twirling mustache.
Oh, I like the Shadow Lords a lot because they're dicks, honestly.
Yeah, they don't seem to be nice people.
You know, it's like they're the guys who will smile at you while sticking a knife in your in your gut.
Whoa,
you know,
backstabbing is like Shadow Lord 101, you know.
Exactly.
Of course,
something like that.
Hi, little cub. I'm going to teach you how to stab somebody in the back. Hold on.
right?
Yeah.
Show you the three best places to
Here's your
carry
knife.
the knife.
Keep it handy. You know.
Yeah, but with this comparison, Eric, I would like to add that they are two sides of the same coin, but one side is insane. Just saying.
Yeah.
And the other side is corrupt.
They said you got to get the hockey helmet off the other guy first. You know.
Right?
Yeah.
With their
exactly.
special
Also,
or
for
differently
vampire-
able, just
For vampire players, I also, because like a lot of the tribes in Werewolf can direct, directly correlate to different clans, which
Yeah,
is
we
a
tend
little
to
bit
do
not by
that.
accident, but I would say that for people that play Vampire, the best way to describe these guys are the Ventru and the La Sombra, except with a lot more fur and blood.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I endorse the comparison. Yeah, indeed, or something like that.
Well,
Not as far as powers and stuff and all that stuff go, but as far as their attitudes.
It was New Wave for Into the Wilderness that described the Silver Fangs as half Ventru, half Malkavian.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Makes sense.
throw that comparison in, Yeah.
Yeah. About the relationship between the both of them, I guess that's something another interesting point to check is that as described in Shadow Lord Third Edition Tribe Book, because lots of people tend to see that since you have a Shadow Lord character, they must be the antagonist of a Silver Fang character, and that's not exactly true. You know that kind of person that you love to hate. I would say that something like this that works for both of the tribes. That they are the thorn in the hand, of each one of the tribes. And then Shadow Lord says something that we know that the Silver Fangs are insane and etc. Probably they're not the best fit, the best tribe fit to rule the Garo Nation, but they work. So they say something like this: have you ever seen a Silver Fang like glowing with his pure breed and white pelt, holding his clive and smashing enemies down? That's something that we could not inspire anyone as this simple view. So what we've got to do is to make the Silver Fangs act correctly. So yes. we've got this idea between these two tribes, right? And there is this idea of fear and respect at the same time for both of them, I would say. And
well, the Shadow Lords seem like professional primogen, with eyes on the princedom. Essentially, they're there to offer advice, and I hope you heard the quotes.
Like another good example, I guess, would be like if you think of like King Tutankhamun and his, the guys that advise him, or any like child king sort of thing. The person like behind the throne would be a Shadow Lord, but then of course the Shadow Lord knows that it's important to have that throne.
Exactly.
Make that throne
good.
This throne is a symbol.
Because it's in their self-interest, because they're selfish bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I always remember Lord of the Rings. There's the King of Rohan, I guess. And that... I forgot.
Oh, Wormtongue. Grima Wormtongue.
Wormtongue, yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would fit perfectly for the relationship between a Shadow Lord and a Silver Fang.
Ah,
exactly.
Okay.
That's a great example.
Especially because the guy's quite mad, and then afterwards we can see him in his full glory, like Matt said, like a true leader and a warrior. So we can get both sides of it.
Yeah, but still kind of mad because why? Already, death, death. But yeah, I would say that that represents the Silver Fangs in their past glory, because they had always been in a way insane or I don't know, deranged or awkward at least. They always have this.
The weird guy at the fireside going, "Did I ever tell you about?"
Yeah, So I like that idea that even in their glory, they're still, in a way, kind of insane.
But it's a different kind of insane than say a Malkavian insane.
Yes. Yeah.
It really is. There's a very large spectrum of weirdness in there.
I think
there's a big difference. The silver fangs are quirky.
Yeah, I guess it's
They're
odd quirks.
compared to a Malkavian.
No, Malkavians should be so scary, crazy. That's what you're supposed to go for there. Like the whole Mangala vibe, if you want to go that direction.
Yeah.
I'm also reading ahead on a bunch of stuff like the Totem of Grandfather Thunder. And that's one of the reasons I really like these guys is they have to do with a lot with the Korax and helping them out for whatever reasons they have. And I really like the way they are socially, because I always like to play a social game with Werewolf because I think it's a lot of fun.
Oh, indeed, yeah. Whenever we're about Shadow Lords, in a way or the other, you're talking about politics, and then we've got a social game. Of course, that you can simply create a warrior or an Aaron warrior with, I don't know, Rage 10, who hack and slash everything he sees. But I would say that you're not playing, in a way, let's say, quotation marks here, but you're not playing the Shadow Lords correctly.
There was something I did in a LARP a while back. It was for Werewolf, but I had a lot of fun with it. But it was back then. The whole thing was that somebody said that you can't make a purely social character in Werewolf. So I did, and
and it worked.
He was a Wendigo, but he was a Ragabash, a puny Ragabash. He can't fight for anything. But he had a worm skin. That was his one totem, and then basically I stacked every social thing you can possibly think of. And we had this big thing where everyone was supposed to fight the big monster, right? And I kind of put the thing on, and I walked up to him and said, hey, you can go now. And they did. And then I had to scold all the different Geta Fenris and stuff like that, telling them how that was really stupid of you guys. I mean, you could have all died, go away, and But I mean, I always found that the politics and the way in Werewolf, it's real. It's feral.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, like I said with the stare down, I mean that's one of the main kind of things that I think really helps define that. And everybody has a place in everything, and when you have a moot and everybody's together, everybody plays that different role, with the Ragabash playing the fool and so on and so forth. When you actually play that stuff out, I can't tell you how much fun that is. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. A lot of getting up in people's faces and growling and stuff, and it's a good old time, honestly.
We've got a request from the chat. She wants to hear about Grandfather Thunder from the guests.
Sure.
Okay. Take your lead, Pedro.
Well, Grandfather Thunder is pretty cool because he can be related to Thor from Norse mythology and Zeus. But I like to think of it as a completely different entity because it has a completely intertwined story with Gaia itself. If I'm not mistaken, Matt can correct me on that. If I'm not mistaken, Grandfather Thunder had a relationship with Gaia, like a romantic relationship.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was Gaia's consort. Yeah, he was Gaia's consort.
And this takes me back to Greek mythology because there's the story of Gaia, also from Greek mythology, having been consort of Uranus, I guess, which was the god of sky. So I think there are several correlations we can use here. And Uranus in Greek mythology, just like Grandfather Thunder, represents a sheer power, like a primitive kind of power. So in this case, it gives Shadow Lords dominion over their kinfolk and their subjects, so to say. And I think that goes to Shadow Lord's philosophy because they always seek power in its true essence. So they always go after kinfolk that resembles or shows power. So I think the influence of the totem goes way deeper in the tribe philosophy.
It's
Indeed.
the loudest sound in the ancient world, unless you were unlucky enough to be near a volcano.
Yeah.
Like the sky was cracking, so it's
Yeah,
it must be
exactly.
powerful.
It's I can understand why that kind of thing would get caught up in the spiritualism of ancient people.
Yeah, and for ancient people, the sky represented order, like laws and commands, because they could interpret time and the seasons from the sky. And on the other hand, you have Gaia, which is the earth that nurtures you. So you have this father and mother relationship between the two Celestines.
Indeed. And just to add a point, there's another thing I like a lot in Grandfather Thunder. It's because when it comes to the totems of the tribal totems, all of them, they are animals, or at least, I don't know, like say mythological animals such as Pegasus or the Griff. So all of them are animals. As simple as a cockroach, for example, to the glass walkers, and as, I don't know, we've got Fenhi or whatever. But Grandfather Thunder, that he is nature.
Yeah, it's an elemental, not a.
Yeah. So one of the ideas of the Grandfather Thunder is that he is way more feared than, let's say, respected by the divine appearance or something like this. Exactly like nature for primitive people. And it goes perfect. It matches perfectly the idea, the animistic idea of werewolf. Although we don't have any kind of animal right here, we've got this idea of exactly what Pedro said, that you've got to be respectful because you fear that you see the skies cracking. And like, what the fuck is that? You know, you've got to praise it because the skies are falling, something like this. So the Grandfather Thunder puts itself, and the tribe understands this as well, as above the others. Because every other thing that you have, any other animal or whatever, they were going to be below Grandfather Thunder. And so one of the bands of Grandfather Thunder, when your pack, for example, admits or is admitted by the Thunder as their totem, is that they must not accord their peers and their rivals more respect than those werewolves have earned through their actions. So you gotta like prove yourself and never, ever give more respect than someone actually deserves. Then it associates with the construction of the relationship between the Shadow Lords and the Silver Fangs. Because if they're fallen leaders nowadays, we shouldn't respect them from what they're not. We shouldn't respect them from like being in a higher station than they really are. You know?
We respect them for what they were, actually.
Exactly. So
have you guys talked about the Shadow Lords? I guess manipulation of the litany yet?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, that's their, well. They're like really bad, like really bad lawyers. As in, like, they will always use the litany to try to find a way around stuff.
Yeah, because we mentioned before the Judges of Doom, one of their camps, kind of a Inquisition, something like this, that they check the other tribes' flaws, and they also check themselves to see if they are not breaking the litany or something like this. But as I mentioned, they have this shadow mood in which they understand what they are actually doing in the name of Gaia, in the name of a bigger result or goal, and then they admit manipulating it. Like, the litany states that. Now I have to think about something, but okay, right the litany is.
The litany higher station.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's a good one. Submit to those to higher station. All right, that's simply. What if the person in higher station does not deserve your submission? He's a weak leader. So if it happens, if you've got a weak leader, so you don't have to submit yourself to him or to her. You should dethrone this leader.
I think I have a better example. If you think about leaders, you can think about them in specific situations. So, for example, if we're thinking about maybe a pact between the werewolves and some spirits, that's the third's role, right? So why shouldn't they follow the our own orders? Why shouldn't they try to figure out which leadership is better for which situation? That's bending the rules. So,
yeah. Well, the reason I brought this up is because there's a really cool thing in the Shadow Lord Tribe book where they kind of go into detail on what they think of the litany, since it is kind of important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of those things is like they give you the whole view on that, and then they have like, okay, this is how we manipulate it. This is like this, and this is how we manipulate it behind the scenes, which I think is really cool.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Yeah, that guy's in charge. He's doing his thing. Stand up, say hi, wave. Okay,
that's right.
Now you guys with the guns, go over there. And, oh yeah, hi. Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, we can give a couple of examples, such as respect those beneath you, or all belong to Gaia. That's something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have the submit to those to higher station. All right. So when the Silver Fangs, to use an example I've already mentioned here, when the Silver Fangs said, let's kill the other changing breeds, in a way, they are breaking the litany to respect of those beneath you. All of them belong to Gaia. But the Shadow Lords, they killed the Kamazots, right? Mm-hmm. So they were breaking this part of the litany. But they say, hey, hold on. We were holding the litany when the litany says submit to those to higher stations. So our king told us to do this. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So if you look in paragraph 4, subsection C of the third sentence in here, it says right here, I can do that.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. All right, cool. Let's go.
Exactly. They are very manipulative, and they know how to deal with politics. Garo politics.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be like easy for them to do this kind of stuff.
Like I said, professional primogen. It's just that's what they do. We advise we don't want to.
Except they have a worse thing when they get upset than vampires do.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like let the Wookiee win,
Yeah. So we're coming up. We've got about 5 minutes towards the end of the show. So if the folks in the channel have any questions they want to get in before the end of the show, I suggest you do it now. So, anyway, are you guys going to get... I know you're both werewolf players, but, are you guys going to... Matt, you don't own any of the vampire stuff, do you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't listen to you, Peter.
I said you don't own any of the vampire...
The vampire material?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a couple of them. The core book, Camarilla, Sabbath, book, the Gehenna, and another thing that I can't see from here. Oh, the Hunter's Hunted.
Okay. And well, you ought to look into V5, man. It's worth it.
It's really cool.
Yeah, but it's also bloody expensive here in Brazil.
Yeah, it's bloody expensive here too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've put my hands on a PDF of it. Still, I didn't have time to look at it yet, but it's something that I have to solve it, as soon as
Man,
possible.
they reworked the rules. They did, and I'm
well.
overall, I am very pleased with what they did. They've been
Yeah,
I want
That-
to. I personally want to see them be able to do werewolf in this same way too.
yes,
because
which is where I was going
The way
with
the
that.
hunger mechanic works, I can see it working really well with
the rage
almost
mechanic.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably what they're gonna do. There is a lot of fuss in Brazilian community towards V5. There are people who hate it. There are people who love it. That's pretty much most.
Yeah,
of the
there
thing.
doesn't seem to be a whole lot of middle ground there, to be honest.
So what I really have in mind is that you've got to understand that it's a new old game. So you're gonna find old elements, but with a new, let's say, approach, probably. So
Yeah,
you've got
well,
to have
yeah.
that in mind.
It's
That-
familiar yet different.
Yes.
Exactly.
And with
But
Beckett's out it actually adds more to the world. It's not a required piece of lore, but anybody who's got a shot at it, get a copy of that Beckett's guide. And I think that's what's going to dictate the overarching meta plot for a little while. How you think?
yeah, about I haven't seen a damn single word from Beckett's diary, but every time I think about it, I always think like, what they're gonna do? Will they do anything similar to that to Werewolf? Because I think I would really enjoy.
Well,
But I don't know what to expect. No fucking idea.
no, and I haven't heard much, but then again, I don't pay too close attention to the werewolf feeds.
Yep.
I try to keep up with some stuff since I've taken over as the if I find something cool White Wolf related, I post it.
These are the two games I followed like the most. Honestly, is Vampire and Werewolf.
Mine's Vampire Wraith, oddly enough, and my Wraith feed is on Reddit, of all things.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And there's
Mine is Werewolf. Yeah, mine is Werewolf and Werewolf.
Yeah. I know. No, I feel you, dude. I feel you. There's always, but I'm there. There's room enough for more than one game.
Yeah, I know.
So, okay, guys, we're coming up on the end of the show. The New Wave was she was also hoping that they do more books for Werewolf.
All of us.
All of
Time
us, yeah.
will tell, and I'm pretty sure if things are going the right direction. So
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. May Gaia listen to you, Eric.
So, of course, I want to thank our guests tonight, Matt and Pedro.
Hey, thanks
Whoa.
for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
I'm always
And
happy
if
to have
any
you
of
guys.
those, and if any of those listeners, if you speak Portuguese, all of you invited to listen to us in our own podcast, GatoCast, only about werewolves. So.
Yeah, it's
But it's in Portuguese.
but it's in Portuguese and it's probably a really good show. If I knew Portuguese, I would probably like it.
I'm in that boat too, man.
Incentive for
Sounds
studying
awesome.
Portuguese.
Oh, and New Wave also, the last minute comment was she's curious to see what they're going to do with Mage, just like I am. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Because
about
there
Mage. It's because the thing I have in mind is that I do know that in V5 they've got the hunger rules and etc. So I can see that they're gonna have the rage rules for werewolves that will match this.
And paradox rules for mage, I guarantee it. Dice.
Yeah, that's my point. Paradox.
Because
Paradox dice. The more,
Yeah.
the more shit you do, the more dice you have to roll.
Yeah, but
I'm
I don't
liking the
know.
new mechanic, man. It really works. And it seems to be, just as you just pointed out, it seems to be pretty universal. You can use it for any of the core games.
Yeah, but my point is that rage drives a werewolf character as well. Hunger will do with a vampire, but mage, they're not driven by paradox, you know.
No, it's more of a what if you're going to sling a fireball, you're going to have paradox dice.
Yeah,
No,
so
indeed, I do understand the paradox, but I don't know how they're going to fit in these new mechanics.
Oh no, I mean it seems to be pretty universal if you think about it in the right way. As far as the core systems that they're going to revamp.
Okay.
All the way, and I see them doing all the major ones. Vampire, werewolf, wraith, mage, and freaking what's the other one? I don't know. I doubt they're going to do anything for Hunter. I doubt we're ever going to get another Hunter book.
maybe Changeling.
Changeling, thank you. That was the other one. So, yeah, and then you have for Changeling, you've got what is it? Banality dice. That would be awesome. So, all right, guys, everybody say good night.
Good night.
Good night.